Welcome to Experts Eating Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas. I'm a happiness coach and an expert nonetheless. And today is the first issue of Experts Eating Cake, and it's just going to be me. Just me. And the reason that I've done Experts Eating Cake is because this combines my three most favourite things in the world. The first thing is eating cake, which we will be doing in just a little moment. The second thing is I love talking about business to people who know their shizzle, know their onions, can teach us a thing or two, and can show us how amazing they actually are and what they can do for you in your business. And the third thing is I love making friends. I love having a good old chin wag. I love flapping my chops about all the exciting things. I don't get to speak to anybody today, but there are loads of amazing guests coming up. So what am I going to do today? I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do. I'm going to eat a little bit of cake. I've actually got two cakes. I've got a cake and a backup cake. And I don't know why I've got a backup cake, but I do love a bit of cake, and I shall be eating the cake and doing a little bit of a reveal and telling you about the cake. If that's the thing that you've come for, you're not bothered about the expert, but you're bothered about the cake. I'm going to be telling you about the thing that I do and one of my areas of expertise, which is creating the kind of energy to be the person who does the awesome things. Now, shall we start with a cake? I've had cake-gasms this morning. My friend's been sending me pictures of cakes that she's made. I've got to get her on. I've got to show you these cakes. They're absolutely brilliant. It just means that every time I see a cake, I end up dribbling and needing some cake. So luckily, it's spurred me on to actually record this for you so that you can find out, get a little bit of a delve into the way that my mind works with the abundance of cake, with the abundance of friends and expertise and amazing things in business, right? So what we're going to do first things first, we're going to eat the cake. I've got a cake and a backup cake. So the cakes that I brought today are from, I live next door but one to a bakery. There's a bakery literally across the road. It takes like 10 seconds to get there. It's not my favourite bakery in the world, but they are here and they have been around for many, many years. I've known them to be here ever since I was a little kid. And it's called Tattersalls, and it's in Wardle because I live in Wardle. Now you know where I live. Anyway, they do the most amazing egg custard. Now, egg custard, you might think, is a pie. And that you'd be right. It's not necessarily a cake. But when I'm talking about cake, I'd like to stipulate that we're talking about sweet baked goods. So in effect, when an expert comes on, they will be bringing sweet baked goods, and we will be chomping on them, and we'll be eating them, and we'll be talking about them. They could be cookies, they could be brownies, they could be pastries, they could be pies, they could be whatever, sweet baked goods, they could be cake. But that is the criteria. I'm setting the bar low here. That's the criteria. It doesn't have to be an elaborate cake. So the cake that I have with me today, this is like my guest because I haven't got a guest on today except for me, that's my backup cake, sorry. We're going to do a little reveal. And they are really good. These are really, really, really good. I really enjoy these. A lovely egg custard. An absolute classic. I know there's loads of people out there that can't eat egg, don't like egg. I'm salivating. That's what I mean, salivating. I'm just going to have a little bite and I will tell you how it is. The pastry is not too thick and not too thin, and it's really crumbly. Oh. That's some good shizzle. That is amazing. They've been doing this for years, so they know their onions. They are expert at making egg custards. A little tiny sprinkle of nutmeg on the top. The pastry is not too crumbly, but it does melt in your mouth. They make it fresh every single day. I think this is one of their best sellers along with their meat pies. And when I go on the school run, I can smell them making it. It's brilliant. I'll have a little bit more. Oh my God, that's so good. Let me show you backup cake. Now, I went and got these a little while ago, about an hour ago, and I got home and I had to test the backup cake first. So some of it's gone. It's not a full slice, but it's a chocolate cake. You've got some buttercream in the middle. And you've got a little bit of chocolate on the top. Very nice and soft. Very chocolatey. A little bit on the sweet side with the buttercream. I probably would have put cream in there to temper the sweetness of the actual chocolate. Let's have a little mouthful. Wash that down. Oh, can't beat a bit of coffee with a bit of cake. I like the egg custard. They're my favourites. If I'm going to go into Tattersalls, that's what I would buy. Stick with the egg custard. It's an absolute classic. Now, when I get my guests on, they will be bringing cake as well. They will be eating their cake. I will be getting jealous about their cake as well. So we're going to have to up the cake ante as we go along. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But these cakes, Tattersalls in MOJO, and I absolutely love their egg custards. Very nice. It's quite handy having a bakery right next door to your house when you're doing experts eating cake. Now, my love of cake has always been in my life. I remember when I was 6 or 7 years old, I had family in Germany in a place called Wolfsburg. It's famous for its Volkswagen factory. And my auntie lived there, and we used to go there every summer, which was amazing. And there was a bakery there. I can remember it as if it was yesterday. I mean, it was the 80s, only just. Everything was kind of brown and beige. But when you walked into it, it was phenomenal. The smell, the warmth, the look of everything. There were sheets and sheets, tray bakes full of cakes. And the one that stuck in my mind and stuck in my heart and will forever be my most ultimate dream cake in the whole wide world is a cake called Bienenstich, which is bee sting cake. And it's a lovely layer of yeast cake, of custard middle, yeast cake, and caramelized honey almonds on the top. Not something that you can find in this country. I've only ever eaten it in this country once, but when I go to Germany, it's something that I make a beeline for. I see what I did there. Make a beeline for the Biesting. So that is my favourite cake, and cake to me has connotations of love, of family, of connection. My dad's an avid cake eater as well, and he likes a good cake. And there were many times we bonded over cake. So cake has been a mainstay in my life. I don't make it. I'm a consumer, not a producer. So I consume the cake. I enjoy the cake, and cake is part of my life. It ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So I just thought, why not actually incorporate it into what I'm doing now, because everybody loves a bit of cake. So enough cake talk for the moment. We will go back to the cake in a little while. I actually wanted to do this because I absolutely love speaking to people. I'm going to be speaking to somebody on this actual show today, but I will be speaking to you guys, and I will be telling you what I am an expert in. I am a happiness expert. I have been pursuing happiness for the last 20 years. And one of the things that keeps coming up again and again and again is the energy behind who you are. And I call this MOJO. Yeah, MOJO, motivation, joy. There are other explanations behind MOJO, but this is my favorite one, motivation and joy. The energy that you bring of yourself, your secret source that allows you to go out and do epic things in the world. So what happens is I work with amazing, intelligent, creative people who have had bags of experience, who've got brilliant personalities, and who have that special something. Everybody's capable of it. And I meet some of the most phenomenal people. But sometimes what happens is they tell me they lose their mojo. They tell me they feel like they're really stuck in what they're doing, that the things that they're doing is supposed to bring them joy and light them up, and it really doesn't. Because things happen in the world. Things happen in your life. Sometimes things are a struggle. Sometimes there are things from the past that bite you in the bum, and it takes a little bit of that energy away from you that you want to put back into doing the thing that you love the most. Now, as a heart-led business owner who works with heart-led business owners, doing the thing that you love the most is helping other people to do better and feel better in the world that we live in. That is what it comes down to. Brass tacks, that is what it comes down to. And to be able to do that, you need the kind of energy that you could cream the top, lift the top of the cream of the energy and give that to other people and share it with other people. So when we talk about happiness, it's about giving your energy to somebody else, giving your love, giving your attention, giving your focus to somebody else so that they can take it and do amazing things with it in their own lives. That's the way that we work. That's the way that coaches work. That's the way that therapists work from a completely different level. And I work with a lot of people who are in that position, but they find it difficult to actually get to the point where they are not just giving to somebody else, but keeping what they need for themselves as well. So when I talk about MOJO, I talk about who you have to be, the energy that you have to be the person who creates the awesome stuff that you already create. It's not the creating of the awesome stuff, it's the energy behind it. And what I wanted to do was put it out there into the world that MOJO is yours. Nobody's going to take it away from you. If it feels like it's gone walkabout, that's fine. You can bring it back again. It's not too difficult to bring it back again. One of the things that I help people with is finding the little things in life that you can do that's not going to take a lot of energy, that will actually create that energy, and recognizing how you can do it at will and make it more intentional. And I thought, why not start on here? Why not give you the benefit of my expertise? So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about how you can do that if you're feeling a bit and you want to get your mojo back, because you really need to. If you're a heart-led business owner, that's the thing that you need to be doing every single day to make sure that you bring it, you show up in your business. So a few things on that, and then I'm going to tell you some of the things that you might not know that might surprise you, that maybe surprised me. Well, it surprised me when I went along my journey and figured this stuff out as well. And then I'm going to share with you my one golden nugget. The thing that beyond anything else is the one thing, if you take away nothing, you take this away, so that you can then go and use it in your life. It'll be like a mantra, because it's definitely a mantra to me. And then I'm going to tell you a little story about how I was a stand-up comedian. You wouldn't believe it. And I never did it again. Anyway, I'll tell you about that in a little while. So let's get down to brass tacks. What is this mojo? I've already said it's the energy that you bring and the secret source of you that you bring with it to actually do the most awesomest things. It's the motivation and the joy. Now, there's three things that you need to remember about how to create that mojo. Is the mojo doesn't even need to be created. The mojo is already there. It's how to bring it out, how to bring it to the fore, how to make sure that it's there for you when you need it. The first thing is be you. There's only one of you, and it sounds like an absolute cliche, but it's so true. There's only one of you in this world. The things that you know, the things that you've done, the things that you experienced, the hardships that you've been through, the things that you've laughed at, the things that have brought you the most amazing feelings, and the things that have brought you to your lowest low, all make you a part of you. And I think sometimes we expect that it's all going to be sweetness and light, and it absolutely isn't. Every single part of you makes you who you are. And it's important to remember that the shitty parts are going to be just as important as the good parts, because the shitty parts are the places where we create the kind of hard things that allow us to grow strong. And you can't be anybody else. You can literally only be you. So being more authentic and recognizing what you bring to the world and acknowledging it, saying, yeah, I am the shizzle. Yeah, I am good at that. Yeah, I am an expert at that. Yeah, I am. This is what I bring to the table. And owning that is a really, really integral part of bringing your mojo back, because it creates this kind of energy of belief, expectation, appreciation, joy, and you want to share it with the world. That, you know, all of a sudden you do that and ping, she's back. That's what you say, she's back. So being you is probably one of the most important elements of actually showing up and having that mojo and not trying to be anybody else. Sometimes the journey is hard, because sometimes you're trying to figure out what's actually you and what's not you. What's you and what is the part of you is the you that you've been told to be you. and being real can sometimes be very hard because it goes against the expectation of other people, especially people who you love. So being brave is a really big part of that. The second thing is that I want to tell you about is quieten the noise. So what do I mean by quieten the noise? What I mean is allowing yourself to ground yourself. So when you want to figure out who you are and bring the best you, sometimes it gets a little bit noisy, especially with social media. Back in the day, when I was doing stress management and things like that, we didn't have social media. We talked to people. We had phone conversations. We actually met up with people and we had conversations. Not saying that social media is wrong, because I love a bit of social media myself. I love having a little nosy and a snoop of what other people are doing. And I do get to connect with people and understand where they're coming from as well. But sometimes when we're so busy looking outward, we forget to look inward. And sometimes it is about looking inwards. In fact, a lot of the time it's about looking inwards, making ourselves more important and drowning out the rest of the world to actually listen to what we are saying to ourselves, to actually listen to the feelings that we have about ourselves, to actually listen to the way that we think, and to actually listen to how amazing we have been in the past and we could potentially be in the future. So we need to quieten the noise. We need to ground ourselves, center ourselves. Now, there's plenty of ways to do this. The most easiest ways to do this is breathe. Breath work is absolutely fantastic for this. Meditate, whichever way you like to meditate. Some people say they don't like to meditate, but there's different ways of meditating, and it's about finding out the way that suits you best. And actually being still, because when you're still, you're not in the noise, you're where you actually are. And when you're still, you can start to feel in to the way that you actually feel about things, what is real to you, what is true to you. Whatever you need to do to get to that place is absolutely key in finding your mojo. And the other thing is, and something that maybe we don't do very often, is feel good on purpose. I call these happiness hacks. Something that I do quite a lot in my own life, something that I do like an easy fix for the people that I work with, is actually identify the things that make you feel good. And make you feel good now and make you feel good in the future. The kind of thing that allows you to grow and be better and make you feel good at the same time. Once you do these things on a regular basis, this helps you to grow and become more of the person that you actually are, then you put yourself in a place where these things come easily to you. We want things to be easy so that we can grow. So, for example, one of the things that I use to feel good is what I call the tune. I talk about it ad infinitum. Sometimes you might have seen me on the old Tickety Talk or Instagram doing a little bit of a dance on a Friday. And I call this the tune. And the whole point of the tune is, and there's a massive amount of science behind it, but basically it hits all the neurotransmitters in a way that actually lifts you up physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. If you find a song that, sometimes it's hard to explain, but you know when you're in the car and the radio's on and there's a song that comes on that makes you turn up the dial and go like this, a bit of this and a bit of that, woo woo, and then the next thing you know, you're singing. That song, in this day and age, when you've got a phone and when you've got a TV and you've got YouTube and you can have everything on demand, that song is something that you can use every single day to get your energy levels up, to get you feeling into your own body, to get you grounded, to get you excited, to bring the kind of energy that you want to put out into the world. And the tune is one of those things. I like to do it in the morning because when I wake up, it's usually the hardest time to actually create that kind of energy for a lot of us. Some of us not. But whenever you need to give yourself that boost of energy, and I know some epic people that do this before they go on client calls, is to get yourself into the state of where you want to be, to train yourself to be in that state. And a banging tune, and it's going to be different for everybody, or a playlist. Even if you've only got one tune and you play that tune every single day, it's going to have that impact. But there's so many tunes out there, and there's so many playlists. I have a playlist. What did I listen to this morning? Oh, I had me a bit of Bee Gees this morning. Ha, 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 staying staying alive. Never used to like Bee Gees, but it's a bit of a tune. And I was doing a bit of this in the mirror, a bit of John Travolta. You probably don't even know who he is because that's how old I am. And as soon as I was up and moving and singing and dancing and falsettoing and pretending I'm the Bee Gees, how can you be sad? How can you be miserable? How can you not feel alive when you're staying alive with the Bee Gees? So that is one of the things that I do to make myself feel good. But there's so many different things. You could be, you could create creativity pockets. A walk of epic ideas is one of the things that I do. I go for a walk, I listen to inspirational content, I come back and I have lots of ideas. I allow myself to be creative, and I love to be creative. Or you might have a hobby that you absolutely love. Do more of that. There might be things that make you laugh, and when you laugh, you lift your mood and you go off and do amazing things. Maybe that's something that you want to do. There's lots and lots and lots of different things, and everything that's out there will impact you in different ways, and you will have your own way of doing things that make you feel good and bring you joy and allow you to change the state of your energy. So when you're feeling a bit shit, stick on the tune. It's guaranteed to get your blood pumping, to get your breathing, because that's what singing is. It allows you to regulate your breathing, regulate your nervous system, and all of a sudden that cortisol's gone boomf, and all your dopamine receptors are fired up in such a way that it's not going to have a negative impact on your body, like, for example, drinking might do. Drinking alcohol might do. So there you have it. Those are the three things. Be you, quieten the noise, and feel good. If you do those three things, and if you concentrate on those three things, you will find your mojo comes back in an absolute flash. Now, some of the things that I found out about mojo that I found were quite surprising was that how easy mojo is to find. It never really leaves you. You just have to focus in on it. And the more you focus in on it, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes, the more often you do it. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the mojo that you have is always there, and it's easy to generate at will. It just takes a bit of practice. And that did surprise me, because it's unbelievable how many people say, I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And then, when my mojo's gone, I haven't felt like myself for such a long time. And that's what they usually say. They usually say, it's myself. It's my own personal being. If you're being you, you're going to be yourself. And that self is always there. It's not going away. It's just finding the ways that actually coax that best self back to life again. So it isn't difficult. Sometimes, it takes a bit of effort, depending on where you are and how you feel at any given time. But ultimately, it isn't difficult. It's about being true to who you are and getting back to your best self and doing the things that allow you to do that. The other thing that I found quite strange is that not everybody knows what mojo is. And now I've explained it in the best way that I know how. And I'll say it again, it's about creating the kind of energy to be the person that does the awesome shit that you do on a day-to-day basis, especially when you're working with customers, especially when you're getting them to better their lives. Mojo, the easiest way I can think of it, the easiest way to remember is motivation. Motivation, joy. So motivation and joy, put those two things together, and you're creating this energy. The joy is creating the motivation. The motivation and the joy together allow you to do epic things. And when you start thinking of it like that, it becomes quite exciting. It becomes a really nice thing to think about, a really nice thing to talk about. And the other thing that I found really, really surprising and really interesting is how much mojo actually is important for your business. Now, a lot of people have a lot of values around business, about integrity, about honesty, about money and building and growth and things like that. One of the things that they generally forget, and it's very rare I come across somebody who has this business value, is happiness. Now, as a heart-led business owner, happiness is my biggest asset. The energy that I bring is my biggest asset. The happiness behind that is being my best self and doing my thing as often as I like and helping others besides. That's the reason that we do what we do in the first place. That is the reason that we got onto creating a passion and creating a business around that passion and going out there and doing phenomenal things in the world. So why wouldn't it be important? And when you think about MOJO and you're the asset, your happiness is important. Why wouldn't happiness be important for your business? Because if you're the person that's going out there, that's making the money, that's doing the admin, that's making the calls, that's making the sales, that's going to events, that's doing the network, it needs a lot of energy. To go out networking, especially if you're an introvert, needs a lot from you. And it's really hard to do if you're not naturally inclined to do that, if it's hard for you to take your energy and put it in that direction. But if it's something that you need to do to get to where you want to go, to be able for you to build a business where you're helping people and impacting the world in the way that you want to do, then it's something that you really could do with making it in such a way that it's a happy way of doing things. And creating that energy in the first place to be able to do it makes it easier, which means that when it's easier, you're more likely to do it. And then that generates that energy and that momentum that you need in your business. So happiness, your happiness, you being happy and you showing up with the best energy possible for your clients, for your connection, for your network, for your community, is an absolutely key value. And MOJO is the thing that underpins that. So learning how to get your MOJO, use your MOJO, and make it, put it out there into the world and make something absolutely delightful from it. So those are the few things. So MOJO is easy to generate. Not everybody understands what MOJO is. And it is really important to have MOJO because happiness is a business value, a really important one. And MOJO underpins that when you're a heart-led business owner. So hopefully you'll kind of get an inkling of the kind of things that I work with on a day-to-day basis with my clients and with the people that I work with, the people that I have a community with. They're just the stuff that I like to flop my chops about. The people that I'm going to be speaking with in the coming episodes of Experts Eating Cake. This is what it's all about. Now, there is a golden nugget in this. If you take nothing away, although the tunes thing is pretty epic, if you take nothing away except for one thing, let it be this. Let it be this. The first thing that I always say to everybody before they even start on any kind of work with me is to make the decision to make their happiness important. Make it important, because when it becomes important, you allow it to become a priority. When it's a priority, it makes it easier for you to do the things that you need to do to make that important. And when you do that, you generate momentum in being happy, in bringing your MOJO back, in putting your MOJO back into your business, in generating more business and doing it in a more joyful way, in impacting the planet, in making more money. And that's just from making happiness important. That is like, because we talk about the domino effect, and the first domino that sets everything off is called the tile. And the tile for you would be make your happiness important, because if you make that important, then everything else will follow. I mean, it's not an easy road by any stretch of the imagination, but it does go easier along the way when you start to make things important and act on the important stuff as well. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to mention here in terms of making things important is about honoring yourself. And we talk about self-care quite a lot, and it's a favorite subject of mine. I might do an expert thing on this at some point in the game, or I might get an expert on where we can actually tussle in the mud about self-care as well. But one of the things that I like to, a different way I like to view self-care is the fact that you are the person that's living your life. Your life belongs to you. Your health belongs to you. It belongs to nobody else. It just belongs to you. Your time belongs to you. Your energy belongs to you. And when you wake up in the morning, that is where you're starting from. Doesn't matter what meetings you've got, what responsibilities you've got. All of that doesn't matter if you don't claim what you need first. So self-care is not a matter of squeezing yourself into your busy day and trying to get something out of it like a massage or something that might make you temporarily feel better. Self-care is a practice that starts from all my time is mine, all my energy is mine, all my effort, all my money, all my everything is mine. First and foremost, who do I choose to share that with? Share it with my kids. So you've got responsibilities. You choose to share it with your responsibilities. You choose to share it with your clients. You choose to share your time and your efforts with the people around you that mean the most to you and will actually help you to get to where you need to go. If there is no energy there to give them, then where the hell are you going to get that energy from to give them? You need to give to yourself first. And it isn't something that you haven't heard before, but it is a way of looking at it, which means that you approach it from a completely different angle, where you matter more than you give yourself credit for, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of putting everybody first, especially if you've got a big heart, especially if you're a people pleaser. Nothing wrong with being a people pleaser, but your people as well. You've got to be one of the first people that you please, because yours is the life that you're living. You're not living anybody else's. Everybody else has got a responsibility for their own lives, and nobody else is responsible for yours except for you. So you're responsible for your self-care, and it's just stepping up to that plate is vitally important. When you start taking that view of it, when you start practicing coming from that perspective, it's unbelievable how quickly you make decisions that benefit you and then benefit the rest of the world. Because when you show up as the most awesome and epic person, then you have far more of an impact than trying to drag yourself through your life and give from an empty cup. That is it. That is all I want to say about the whole freaking MOJO thing. Apart from, I've got two things for you. Number one, if you want to find out 5 of the easiest ways to get your freaking mojo back, I have created an ebook, and it's absolutely free. And it's 5 things that you can implement today to actually start getting your mojo back and using it and implementing it into your life so that it never leaves you again. So if you want to do that, down below in the description, there's a link to that. Sign up to that. It's a little email list. You'll get that straight away, and you can start on that straight away. And the second thing that I want to tell you about is, if you are an expert and you are watching this, if you are a heart-led small business owner and you're watching this, if you live in Manchester or near Manchester or can get to Manchester on the 8th of March this year, 2024, and you want to join me and other experts in an epic day, in a phenomenal day of fun, laughter, just mojo building excitement. It's a work day. We're going to do some epic, brilliant, amazing stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to buddy up. So the people that are coming, we're going to be buddying you up with somebody else, and you are going to be working together on each other's businesses. And the whole reason for this is because we're going to tackle the 3 things that business owners really struggle with. And I know this because I've been asking people, and this is what they've been coming back to me with, is clarity. Not clarity. Belief, self-belief, clarity, and excitement. So they struggle with self-belief. We're going to get that back. We're going to get somebody else to show you exactly how flipping brilliant of a human you are. The second thing is clarity. It's about creating simplicity, doing the things that you already know, using the resources that you already have. And that other person is going to bring their expertise, and you're going to work together using their expertise to create something and give it an absolute kick up the backside so that you can take that out into your business and create amazing things, generate money, generate impact, whatever it is that you want out of this. And the third thing that we're going to do is, once you've got that buddy, when you buddy up with them, it's going to be so great when you leave, because in terms of accountability, in terms of lifting each other up, in terms of creating that excitement and that buzz about the ideas that you've created within that day, will carry on outside of the day, and some amazing, incredible things will happen. I know this. I get chills every single time I mention this. I know that something epic is going to happen in that room, something life-changing, something world-changing. But you've got to be in the room to be a part of it. So what's going to be happening? 8th of March, Central Manchester, for the whole day, 147. I've got a payment plan available right at this minute. And all you have to do is click on the link below. There's a little video in there explaining it in a little bit more, but it's pretty much in a nutshell what I've just said. I'll be there. I'll be feeding you cake. I'll be feeding you sweets, obviously, if you want to. And we will be getting down and dirty, working on our businesses with our buddies and making stuff happen. And I am so pumped about this. I am so excited about doing this. I'm just waiting for you guys to hit me up and let me know that you're coming, joining me. And it's going to be a day and a half. We're going to have tunes. We're going to do the lots. We are going to come out of there absolutely buzzing. I'm already buzzing just talking about it. So if I'm already buzzing just talking about it, imagine how you're going to feel at the end of the day. It's going to be brilliant. So that is something that's on offer right at this moment. If you want to check that out, check the link. If you got some questions about it, just hit me up. Right, I'm going to eat a little bit more cake because it's sitting there and it's absolutely tempting me. And I'm salivating. Oh my God, that's so good. Who doesn't like an egg custard? I'm going to get some thumbs down now, I think. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I have got some brilliant guests coming up. Now, our next guest is a brand photographer extraordinaire. We will be eating cake. We will be talking about their business. We'll be telling you about something rather special. And we'll be showing you exactly how to approach brand photography, even if you've never done it before, even if you think you can't afford it. This amazing guest will be telling you how you can go about it and actually use it in your business to your best advantage. Can't wait for that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification button so that you know when my next guest is going to be on and when all the future guests are going to be on. I'll book some brilliant people and I'll see you later. Well, it was inevitable, wasn't it? I was going to forget something. That's what you get when you nearly hit 50 and you're going through menopause. And you're getting all excited about cake and MOJO and stuff. And you forget the one thing that you said that you were going to do at the very end and you don't end up doing it. But I'm going to do it because I promised. I don't like not keeping my promises. I'm going to tell you the story about how I was a stand-up comedian. Right. So when I lived in London, we're talking about 15 years ago, and I used to work in construction. And sometimes I would get on the bus to get to the tube stop, and in the bus stop near my house, there once upon a time on this particular day, there was do you know those adverts that people put up? So they write down what it is, and then you get their little tickets at the bottom. You take the ticket with the telephone number and you give them a ring, and hey presto, you sort things out. It was one of those, and it said looking for people to do a 10-week comedy course. I was like, oh, fancy a bit of that. I've never done comedy before. Don't really know any comedians except for Billy Connolly, but I thought I'd give it a go. So I took one of the things. This was pre-kids. This was in between marriages. Took one of these things. Something to do, you know. Hang around on a construction site all day. You want a bit of light relief at the end of the day. So I thought I'll learn how to be a comedian. Why the hell not? And I booked myself onto this course. Turned up, there were 9 guys and me. In fact, 10 guys and me. There were 9 other students. There was the teacher, and then there was me. So I was already on the back foot being the only woman in the room. The second thing is that they knew everything that that was to know about all the comedians. And they were kind of people that knew all the, the scripts from films and scripts from comedy sets and things like that. They knew all the names and where they went to and stuff like that. I didn't know any of that stuff. I literally did not know any of that stuff. I went in as a total newbie. And it was a bit scary, but it was a bit exciting, and it was somewhat a little bit different. And we did the stuff. There's a lot that goes into comedy. You have to find your ideas. You have to learn about timing, about writing scripts, about making things funny and looking at things from different points of view. You need to be able to hold yourself and carry yourself. You need to be able to figure out to put a persona on. You need to bring confidence. You need to bring mojo. You need to bring the mojo. And I think about three weeks in, I found it really hard going. I found it extremely hard going. It was getting very frustrating. I did that thing when you're writing something where you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall and you're not really getting past anything. And I was like 3 weeks and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not fun. I thought it was going to be fun. It's not fun. So I rang the teacher and he said, just stick at it. Just come back. Just stick at it. You'll be fine. We'll work through it, whatever it is you have to do. And that kind of encouragement kept me going. So I did the whole 10 weeks. At the end of the 10 weeks, I was ready. I had my script. I've done my practice. I had my persona. I had everything ready. And we were doing like a showcase in a stand-up comedy club. Now, I'm not talking some backwater pub here. I'm talking one of the big famous comedy clubs in London called Up the Creek in Greenwich. It was just around the corner from me. And they arranged this show. They put on this showcase. We had loads of people. The place was absolutely packed. And they bloody well put me on at the worst possible time. It's like about halfway through, there's been a few comedians on, people are starting to get bored. They're going off getting their drinks. I think it was just after the interval, getting their attention back and capturing their attention is actually really quite difficult. But I went on. And it was the most nerve-wracking thing that I've ever done in my whole life. I can picture as if it was yesterday. It was such a long time ago, and I don't remember the stuff from yesterday. Never mind 15 years ago, but this stuck in my head. I pictured going up on the stage. So it was 3 steps, got up onto the stage, and it was the way that you imagine being up on stage is. It was all black. There was a microphone. There was a sea of faces, and there was a big, massive light right in front of you, shining into your eyes. And I stood there in front of this microphone, light shining, sweating cobs, head to toe in leopard skin. Even my earrings were leopard skin. Head to toe in leopard skin, all these mismatched things. I had a handbag and all this kind of stuff. And I stood there and it was my time. It was my time to shine. And guess what? I didn't bloody shine. What I did was I opened my mouth like this, looked at all the faces, sweated a little bit more, and literally nothing came out. So I shut my mouth. Then I opened it again. And then I shut it. And I think my brain kicked into gear. Because I opened my mouth and it all came flooding out. I got a couple of laughs. I got to the end, came off, pats on the back. And I was like, I am never going to do that ever again. That was the first and the last comedy show that I ever did. And one of the reasons that it was so hard, I think it's so unforgiving, being a stand-up comedian in terms of being the kind of performer, that kind of performer is actually really hard because there's nowhere to hide. It's you, your script, your ideas, your personality, everything about you up on that stage and the expectation of everybody else in that room. If they're not your crowd, if they don't get you, if they don't connect with you, if you don't create that connection, that rapport, and you can't stand up for yourself, there's nowhere to hide. You can absolutely bomb. And it doesn't matter if you are, top of your game, the best in the world. If you're in a crowd that does not appreciate your humor, you are gonna bomb. And dealing with that is actually quite hard because you take it very, very personally. There's a lot to be learned about being a stand-up comedian. It's like being an entrepreneur. You have to craft your skills. You have to go through the things that build the resilience and the strength and get you through to the other side. You are very much in the spotlight. It's all down to you. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think coming out the other side and becoming the person who can do that and pick themselves back up again is an absolutely vital part of business. So it's not something that I probably would ever do again. I don't know. I'd probably end up going up on stage at some point. I'm doing a show, for God's sake. I like to have a laugh and a giggle, but I don't think I'd go through that experience again. But I've taken a lot from that. Inadvertently, I've taken a lot from that. And it just goes to show how bloody amazing you can be if you really want to, and that things are not easy for a really good reason. And when things are hard, remember that the reason that they're hard is so that you can get strong. I'm going to leave you with that. But there's going to be more of this, more of these. I've eaten the cake now. And I will see you in the next episode.